This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Let's talk about the news. From BBC News, Russia's Wagner Group commander requests Norway asylum. A now former commander with a paramilitary group connected to the Russian government, the Wagner Group, has fled to Norway, where he's now requesting asylum. This is notable in part because the Wagner Group is, in practice, a wing of the Russian military that is, ostensibly, separate, which allows it to do bad things while still giving the Russian government deniability and distance from those bad things, and in part because the Wagner Group has been very active in Ukraine of late, and this former commander says he has evidence of war crimes in his possession. He says he fled because the group intended to extend his contract indefinitely, something that's reportedly been happening to rank-and-file Russian soldiers as well. From The Verge, AI art tools Stable Diffusion and Midjourney targeted with copyright lawsuit. A lawsuit has been brought against the makers of the Stable Diffusion and Midjourney AI art generators and the social platform DeviantArt by a trio of artists who allege that these companies have infringed on their rights and the rights of millions of other artists by training their software on those artists' work. These lawsuits were kind of inevitable, and these companies, and others operating in other facets of the trained AI model industry, have been waiting for this shoe to drop since they initially released their products to the world. And what's happening here is these companies have software offerings that are able to do what they do because they're trained on catalogs of media made by humans. So visual works for the art-making AI, code written by developers for the code-writing AI, and so on. The folks who have had their work fed into those catalogs, almost always without their permission, are saying, in essence, these AI are blending our work with the work of others to create new work that violates our copyright. This is a legal battle that's been in the making for a long time then, and it will be closely watched as it will inform the next steps these companies take in terms of developing this type of software. And from Reuters, arrest of last godfather deals new blow to ailing Sicilian mafia. Sicilian mob boss Matteo Messina Denaro, the last godfather of the Sicilian Cosa Nostra, has been arrested by the Italian police, ending a 30-year manhunt and further wounding the local mafia's reputation. Denaro's continued freedom, despite the police keeping a keen eye out for him all these years, represented a sort of last hurrah for the Italian mafia, and this arrest represents the opposite, a kind of death knell for an organization that was once incredibly powerful throughout the region, but which today is generally described as ailing, fractured, and increasingly being outperformed by younger, hungrier criminal organizations. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.